Okay, we're going to move on to some more awards, and the next award will be for research, and I'm introducing another C3E ambassador, Christine Ervin. Christine is the principal for the Christine Ervin Company. She's led innovative collaborations to accelerate green markets for more than 25 years. She was the first President and Chief Executive Officer for the U.S. Green Buildings Council, and she led it from its evolution as a startup organization to a highly influential coalition of industry leaders that are transforming the way buildings are designed, built, and operated in the U.S. and abroad. She was also the first female assistant secretary for energy efficiency and renewable energy, where I worked for a time. She was there during the Clinton administration in the Department of Energy. And previously, Christine directed the Oregon Department of Energy and conducted research at the Conservation Foundation. Over to you, Christine.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, and for all that you do. Well, good morning, everyone. What a fabulous day and a half of inspiration and education and networking. So thanks to all of you for making this such a treat. And now the icing on the cake for me is to present the C3E 2017 Award for Research to Inês Azevedo, professor in the Department of Engineering and Public Policy at Carnegie Mellon University. Now, Professor Azevedo's nomination stood out for many reasons, starting with her prolific research and publication record, to be sure. 57 peer-reviewed articles and counting by the day, I think, many in prestigious journals and already attracting nearly 1,500 citations. Her leadership role in several venues, including Carnegie Mellon Center for Climate and Energy Decision-Making, and her success in securing substantial NSF financial resources to support that effort. You know, I should say we're so pleased to have her enthusiastic lead supporter for this nomination with us, Dr. Ed Rubin, right back here. And among the many things that he says and his colleagues say about her role as a mentor for other women, who, in your words, has very few peers. You know, whether it be advising numerous PhD students or her regular classes or launching summer programs on climate change for ninth graders and STEM teachers, all of which helps explain why she has so rapidly progressed in something like about 5 years from assistant professor to associate professor to full professor this year. But beyond all this, there's another aspect of her nomination that really meant a lot to me and to many other ambassadors, her passion and commitment to cross-disciplinary research. You know, over the last day and a half, many of us have alluded to the fact that many of our challenges and opportunities are accelerating, they're scaling, and they're becoming increasingly interrelated. And so to be relevant and most effective, our strategies and policies need to be designed for speed and scale and integrated approaches. And this is precisely where Professor Azevedo excels, combining her deep expertise in engineering with technology, economic analysis, human behavior, and decision-making on really timely and pragmatic policy issues. Like, where do investments in renewable resources have the most impact? How can we better understand income distributional effects so that we can design policies accordingly? Again, as Dr. Rubin summed up, she has the remarkable and rare ability to recognize and analyze the complex interactions among factors that determine the success of technologies and policies designed to advance these goals. Now, finally, there's a really important extracurricular milestone I need to point out today, and that is the fact that Professor Azevedo is the proud new mother of a baby boy, Luis, as of just last week, which is why she is not here. But we can still enjoy the video that she has taped for us. So I know and I hope you're listening, Inês, so congratulations from all of us.
Hi, everyone. I am sorry for not being able to be there with you in person today. I'm absolutely delighted to receive the Research Awards in Clean Energy. And I'd like to start by thanking the C3E organizers of the Women in Clean Energy Symposium. This is an absolutely tremendous initiative, and I would look forward hearing from many of you about the different sessions and discussions that are going on. I'd also like to thank the nominating team that put together my nomination, as well as the senior faculty and mentors that I have both at Carnegie Mellon University and elsewhere, which have been able to help me and guide me through these years of research. And also a very big thank you to my graduate students and colleagues that I have co-authored with, which make really my job be an enormous fun every single day and a very interesting job to have indeed. I'm fortunate to have been at Carnegie Mellon University for the last several years, and CMU is indeed known for pursuing interdisciplinary research with a very strong focus on energy and climate change related issues. And the department that I'm housed at, the Department of Engineering and Public Policy, indeed has been promoting for more than 30 years this sort of interdisciplinary approach that brings together engineering, social sciences, and policy analysis. And that's very much at the core of the type of research that I've learned and that I'm passionate about doing, which is to identify technical problems where just doing the engineering simulation or optimization part of the problem really doesn't get at the whole issue, and where one often needs to complement that understanding with economics and social sciences, as well as the realistic implications of policy design. And between that, my research focuses really on energy systems and transitions. And I care about immediate transitions, not transitions over the course of 100 years or 200 years, but what can we do now, and what are the consequences of the decisions that we do today in terms of the electricity infrastructure, the vehicle infrastructure, buildings, and so on. That, of course, includes also understanding how people behave and make choices. And more often than not, the type of work that I do uses an engineering systems approach rather than looking at problems just at the device and component level, and finding through that lens new and often counterintuitive insights. With the award that is generously being provided by C3E, I'm very looking forward to putting together a 3-day workshop that is going to bring together about 20 women PhD students from different nations to work about and think about an issue that I'm starting to work on and very passionate about, which is to quantify the distributional and equity related issues associated with energy decisions. And once again, looking at those specifically, what are the consequences from the adoption of PV or electric vehicles or building codes for high income and low income households? What's that distribution? I'm very looking forward to putting together that workshop, and I'll reach out to several of you in the room to serve as mentors for that workshop too. And so with that, a big thank you to the C3E organizers, and goodbye.
Okay, moving quickly on. The next award is for Law and Finance, and Marianne Sullivan is going to introduce that. Marianne's a partner for the energy regulatory practice at the law firm of Hogan Lovells. She's got more than 25 years experience as an energy lawyer. Her current practice primarily focuses on electricity regulatory matters and matters involving climate change, nuclear, renewable energy, and advanced energy technologies. Marianne also served as general counsel at the Department of Energy from 98 to 2001 and deputy general counsel for the environment and nuclear programs. And during that time, a few interesting things happened to allow her to apply her energy and legal expertise, like electricity restructuring, the California electricity crisis, the Northeast heating oil shortage, and privatization of uranium enrichment activities. And Marianne also oversaw the legal support for opening of the world's first deep geologic disposal facility for radioactive waste. I will turn it over to Marianne to give the next award.
Thanks very much. I just want to take a minute to call attention to some words on your agenda. You've probably all looked at it at some point over the last day and a half, but I just want to pick out a few words and ask you to think about them. Co-founder, general manager, professor of engineering at MIT, global director, president and CEO, commissioner, senator, vice president for research at MIT. These are the labels that those of you who are early in your career must aspire to. And I think we all owe a great thanks to the people to whom those labels attach that you took your time to be with us today and yesterday. And a great thanks to the organizers who got those folks to come and join us. That was a lot of work, and they did a great job. So now let me turn to my wonderful assignment, which is to present the C3E Award in Finance for 2017. Sarah Valdovinos is a woman of many accomplishments. In the field of finance, which, let's face it, is a place where women are far too scarce, face a very tough environment, and where the rubber meets the road, or maybe more accurately, where great ideas can meet the market. She began her career at Southern California Edison, which, as it happens, has been a wonderful friend for C3E for several years. She then went on to earn her MBA at UCLA, and then she decided to come east to Wall Street and investment banking. First, she was at Goldman Sachs. There, she worked on exotic derivative transactions. Sarah, I want you to explain to me what exotic derivative transactions are. Sounds very interesting. Then she went on to Barclays, where she became a managing director. For those who aren't familiar with the investment banking business, managing director for a woman, that is a pretty big deal. At Barclays, she managed her own team, developed new lines of business, and executed more than 40 billion, that's with a B, in oil hedges. But she also got introduced to carbon trading and became interested in renewable energy. She left her managing director position. We heard this morning about bravery in your career. That's bravery. And before long, she co-founded Walden Green Energy and became a venture investor in clean tech. I work with a lot of clean tech companies. I love venture investors, including one of her interests is one of my favorite technologies, the EV enabling technologies. In her spare time, and I put that in quotes, she works with the Robin Hood Foundation and she promotes STEM education. Sarah has already achieved much, but I'm confident the best is yet to come. And I'm hoping that she's going to tell us now what's next for her in clean tech, where she sees investment dollars going, and what we can all do to help ensure that clean tech continues to move from being a premium product available to a few to something that's widely available in all kinds of communities. So Sarah, I'm delighted to present you with the award in finance. Please come up. Keep up the good work.
Marianne, thank you so much for that introduction and for all the work that you've done in your extensive career in energy law. I'm going to disappoint you, though. I'm not going to be talking about exotic commodity derivatives today. And I can tell by everyone's faces that you're the only one that's going to be disappointed. Thank you so much. Wow, being up here on stage really does change your perspective. To look out to see this room filled with people who are all on the same mission to further the progress towards the transition really to clean energy, to the clean energy economy is really, it's really very encouraging. And also I think really to see just so much talent, so much female talent, both present here physically in the room, and I know many people who are listening in through the webinar. It is really inspiring. So thank you all for being here. As the other recipients have expressed, I'm honored and humbled to receive this award. When I transitioned from my career in sales and trading to start this new one in the clean energy space, I did so partially because I saw a need for even more investment into it to really make a strong business case for deploying capital to fuel innovation and really to implement the solutions that we need for managing the impacts of climate change. And I thought that my markets experience could serve me well in making that business case. But I say that it was part of the reason that I was so excited about the transition and kind of jumping in with both feet into the deep end of the clean energy space. We started by, my partners and I started by deploying our own capital and developing wind energy projects here in the US, and then climbing mountains around the world looking for small rivers to find opportunities and run-of-river hydro and looking at solar. And so it's been a lot of fun and very exciting. But I have to say that one of the other sort of drivers or motivators was really my experience of growing up with one foot firmly in the US and the other in Mexico. As a result of that, I was able to see how energy and innovation can play such a critical and transformational role in the quality of life for people. I remember when I was 5 going with my grandmother to our hometown in Mexico, and as we were driving into the town in a very stinky bus, I remember asking why was it that people were burning trash on the side of the road, and why back home we didn't do that. And so that I think, as I look back, I think that seed, was planted and really continued to inspire me to be focused on energy. And as Marianne explained, to kind of transition to really follow up a passion, which is furthering kind of clean energy space. Yesterday, Dr. Amy Glassmeyer noted that we are already beyond the turning point of transitioning to the low-carbon economy. And I really do agree with that. I think that the critical question now is, how quickly can we get there? And how can we ensure that people across the economic spectrum are able to reap the benefits of that transition? For me, this award represents a challenge. It's a challenge to think about what else I can do to embody the principles that originally motivated many of you who are here and others to launch the Clean Energy Education and Empowerment Women's Initiative. The belief that the ideas and talents of all members of society are essential to accelerating progress towards a clean energy future, and that the increased participation of women in the sector will contribute to a more robust industry. So I'm taking that challenge on, and I thank you for the challenge that the award brings with it. Because this isn't only an issue of fairness and justice. This really, I think, goes beyond politics and dated arguments of causality. It goes to the heart of creating a robust economy, and that, in turn, is critical to a more peaceful society. In my view, one of the most important investments, the linchpins to the strategy for achieving those goals, is ensuring access to education. If we're going to deliver the benefits of this clean energy economy, we need to prepare our kids to be able to pursue a broad range of careers. And that means that they should be ready and able to pursue a PhD in physics or a trade in the clean energy space. So I'm taking the financial component of the award and investing it in an initiative that I'm sponsoring with the University of California, San Diego, and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography to incorporate clean energy science into the curriculum of middle and high school girls and children from low-income and other underserved communities. We're starting in Southern California, but I really do think that this effort and others like it across the country are really critical if we are to build a very solid and robust pipeline of talent that's going to help drive the low-carbon economy of the future. So we're going to be expanding a program that already exists that's a more general STEM-focused program and really leverage the work that the center is called CREATE, which is the Center for Research on Education, Equity, Assessment, and Teaching Excellence. It's a mouthful, so I'll stick with CREATE for a sec. But CREATE already has an existing program that focuses on STEM and connects scientists to local science teachers. And so what we're doing with this initiative is now twofold. One is putting a track where we're focused on everything to do with sustainability and clean energy. And two, I'm hoping, and this is where I'll reach out to many of you here, I'm hoping to bring companies and corporate partners into the mix so we can really create an even more robust experience for the teachers. And if you think about the wonderful thing about working with teachers, it is such an amazing multiplier effect. It really leverages that investment because for every 5 teachers we have in a pod, you're touching thousands of kids in a school year. As an investor, I'm personally so excited about so many interesting opportunities. I've worked a lot in investments, and we have some wind farms, but there's so much more to do in energy storage, electrification, of transportation, looking at how blockchain can create a real symbiotic relationship between our existing utilities and the new microgrids that are evolving globally. I'm really, Marianne asked, can you tell us about where you think the next investment themes are? And I think if we do our job right, just referring back to our investment in education and driving more investment into the sector, I'm hoping that I actually can't think of any of the ideas that'll be the ones they'll be exciting, in very short order, because those are going to be springing from all of the innovation that is born out of this investment in education and, kids coming up with new solutions and collaborating. And I think that just a couple more thoughts before I think I stand between you and lunch, but, I think that for us here, building on this community to be able to collaborate and find solutions to these problems is also such an exciting and very important part of the equation. But I would be remiss if I left you today without thanking a few people whom I hope I will make proud for having had a hand in getting me this award. First, certainly, thank you to all of the C3 ambassadors, MIT, Stanford, all of the sponsors who are very wisely invested in this initiative. And thanks to Carter Wall for nominating me. Thank you so much. I mean, and if any of you don't know her, I really encourage you to go and introduce yourself and talk to her. Talk about someone who really empowers stewardship and mentorship. I really have an incredible amount of respect for you. Thank you for this. I also want to thank my business partners who are not here today because they're actually doing all the work and covering my part of the work so that I could be here with you today. I intentionally left my thank yous to the end because I wanted to leave you with a message of gratitude. I think gratitude has been sorry, I'm actually getting emotional. I'm going to read it straight so that I don't cry. Gratitude for the sacrifices my family made in search of an opportunity has been such a critical fuel for my ambition and drive. I didn't plan for this. I'm sorry. But really beyond that, I think that just gratitude is a really critical component to make us just better professionals. I also think that, as I've talked to many of you, the work that we're doing in climate, oftentimes it feels like you're an ant standing at the bottom of Mount Everest. And thinking and being grateful for this community and all the work that everyone's doing, I think helps to really kind of alleviate that burden and make it a little more achievable. Lastly, I want to, when I count my blessings, I know it's, at least for me, impossible not to forget the responsibility I have because of those blessings to be a better steward of the planet and to just, make this a better place for everyone, not just my friends and my family. So I would encourage all of you and all of us, really, to stop and count our blessings and really take every opportunity to pass that on to everyone we encounter, because we really are so blessed. So thank you so much, and thanks for indulging my tears.
All right, another hard act for me to follow, but it's time for us to take a break, and we will be having lunch, but please, again, you have some time now, the most time you're going to have between now and the end of the conference to vote on the posters. And again, actually, the deadline for voting will be 2:45, because we'll have one last break then. So please go out, enjoy the posters, and then we will have food ready fairly soon and gather back in here by 12:45. There's a buffet out there, and everybody come back in by 12:45, and we will hear from Dr. Laura Nelson, who is an energy advisor to the governor of Utah. Thanks.